over 20 years, many people have watched the Cars movie in 2006, probably around the same year as when I was born. The delinquent road hazards are only a minor character group in the Cars franchise. They only were seen twice in the movie, in the end and the beginning of the highway scene. One of their unusual categories is that they basically took inspiration from 2001's early Universal Pictures movie, The Fast and the Furious. Let me explain. If you don't know what The Fast and Furious is, you'll basically know almost all about it. The Fast and Furious is a movie about guys and girls street racing illegally at night, robbing trucks from other people, and then you got the most obvious point. The whole plot point about the Fast and Furious is about being family. Well, it did become a family-oriented action thriller when it released Fast X, which is basically going to be a three-part movie for 2027 and 2028. So I'm going to discuss each of these guys' models, makes, and where they were born. Starting off with DJ. None of you know why he was called DJ, but I think you obviously get the point. DJ is a type of guy that plays well music. And since DJ is influenced on music, his car design is a Scion XB, a popular K car, or should I say mini car, is a type of Toyota brand made by, you guessed it, Scion. The Scion XB was so little at that time that Toyota stopped making Scion XB and later focuses on its other famous brands like Daihatsu and Lexus. DJ has massive speakers mounted on to his side panels and rear door, including his floor panel sides. He basically has large wheels and the oversized spoiler sticking out of his roof. What I obviously don't understand is he basically kind of looks like a Subaru Impreza STI hatchback. But I think it was obvious that his design basically took inspiration from the Scion XB. Really cool car. So the next car we have is Boost. If you guys don't know who Boost is, he physically represents the 1999 Nissan Silvia S15, which kind of laid production between early 2000s and late 1990s. The Nissan Silvia only came to the US for 25 years until Nissan forgot all about sports cars and now just focuses on pickup trucks, SUVs, and dumb crossovers. The Nissan Silvia is known for its high ability of tuning and car culture influences. Tokyo Drift introduced us the Nissan Silvia S15 Mona Lisa and Sean Boswell's black and gray Nissan Silvia S15 Spec R. There were two different trim levels of the Nissan Silvia S15. One is the Spec R model and the other one is the Spec S model. But I think between those two, I think Boost technically derives that from the Nissan Silvia S15 Spec R due to his body modifications. The next car we have is Wingo. If you probably don't know Wingo, you would probably see that tall stacking spoiler on his back. Well, that is his name, obviously. So, when you think about him, you think of something else. Brian's Eclipse. Yes, the 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. One of my disliking features about Wingo is that he basically doesn't have black color on him. He basically does represent Brian's Mitsubishi Eclipse from the first movie, which ironically is the same car when you look at his front, but the rear, it kind of looks like more of a Honda NSX or a Honda Civic. I think he was basically the mix of a Honda Civic and a Mitsubishi Eclipse for both front and back. And then you got the last character of the street gang, Snot Rod. If you don't know what Snot Rod is, you basically know what that means. Snot is basically something that basically is from your nose, and Rod, well, you guessed it, he's a hot rod. Get it? That's more like a joke. Snot Rod is prone to sneezing very badly, and due to his atrocious sneezing, he tends to fire flames out of his exhaust pipes. He basically took inspiration from what I think is a drag car, a popular type of muscle car with a massive blower sticking out of the hood. Snot Rod resembles Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger RT. Why? Because Dom's Dodge Charger and Snot Rod both have massive blowers, and both were muscle cars, both were made in the 1970s, and both were made by Chrysler until 2026 gave us the Dodge Charger 6-pack. So let's talk about Snot Rod. Snot Rod is a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda. Oh, from what I can obviously tell, he basically mixes multiple levels of different muscle cars of the era, such as 1960s Dodge Charger, the Plymouth Roadrunner, the Plymouth Barracuda, the Dodge Challenger. I think the only obvious point is, due to Snot Rod being fictionally categorized as a Bragachon road burner, which basically suggests that he could be a two-section nickname for both the Plymouth Barracuda and the Plymouth Roadrunner. They were famously known in NASCAR since the 1960s and 1970s. Only the Plymouth Roadrunner, not the Barracuda. The Barracuda is basically a muscle car made by Plymouth, which basically ironically derives the name from a fish called a barracuda. I don't think it's quite obvious that many people would have heard Bragachon and Road Burner, because I think that sounds mixed up. From what I can see, Snot Rod definitely looks like Dom's Charger. So among the four categories of cars these guys were in this movie, they basically took inspiration from the Fast and Furious from 2001. Yeah, you heard me. They were based on the first Fast and Furious movie cars. Well, except the fact Boost is probably derived from Tokyo Drift, because he is a Nissan Silvia, and the Nissan Silvia was made for Tokyo Drift, and Tokyo Drift came after Too Fast, Too Furious. And from what I can see, the Delinquent road hazards were only revealed to be 4, but in real life car culture, imports and muscle cars were most likely a common thing in the Fast and Furious world. However, since Fast and Furious 10 released, and everyone forgot about Fast and Furious being part of car culture and being part of the Avengers culture. Really, what an upset. So, the tuner gang in Disney cars, they basically derived their inspirations from the Fast and Furious. I really do think they are based on the Fast and Furious. So, my suggestion on them is really good, because I think they have a lot of potential for being in the Fast and Furious movie. They basically did street racing, which is the original movie's concept, but they had less screen time. They only had a short scene twice in one movie, and then the video games, not so much. They also appeared in the shorts Tokyo Mater, but Snot Rod, well, he's not in there because DJ, Boost, and Wingo were the only ones there when that happened. So, the Delinquent road hazards, they were not just some random plot point that gave the movie its representation of markable relationship with yourself, you socialize with others, but from what they obviously represent the whole fact of the movie, foreshadowing Lightning McQueen to stay in Radiator Springs right after the incident on the highway. So, the incident on the highway was really characterized as a Fast and Furious remake that was only caught for a short moment until the whole plot of the movie continues on without these four cars. So, that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Make sure that you go comment, like, and subscribe.